Oh my gosh, I don't know about you, but I feel like holidays are really needed this year. Although I love going on holidays, I hate packing and I hate prepping. I mean, holiday prep is crazy, right? You have to make sure you've got your passport, your cash, the right tech, all the cords and batteries for your laptop, your watch, your phone, your iPad, your whatever it is. And then of course there's organizing everyone else. There's organizing the kids, there's finding a pet sitter. The last thing you want to do is worry about your plant babies when you're on holidays. But that's why I'm here, so don't stress, because today I'm going to be sharing the ultimate guide to vacation proofing your plants. And make sure you do stick around till right at the end, because not only are we going to go through the prep, I'm also going to give you a couple of quick tips for when you return. Let's do this. So to get your plants ready to go away, I would actually start prepping your plants around 1 week before you go on holiday. One, just to expand all the chores out so they're not last minute and rushed, and plus you've got so much other stuff to do before you get ready on those final few days. And the first thing I would actually do is start by just evaluating each and every plant. So honestly, get your head in close and have a look and inspect all of those leaves and stems. To begin with, if you've got any yellow leaves, you can trim off the yellow or damaged leaves. This helps your plants actually focus on staying just a little bit more healthy while you're away, but it also looks better when you return to a nice luscious green jungle. Plus, if there are any issues that you don't catch before you go, they will become a lot more obvious when you return, so it'll be a lot more noticeable when you come home. And while you're there, best thing to do right now before you go is to check and treat for pests. Out of all the things you're going to do, honestly, I feel this is the must, like, to-do item on the entire list, because you don't want any pests to go unnoticed while you're away, because then they can cause even more damage than when you're home. So grab an insecticidal spray like neem oil. I make my own neem oil spray, here it is. And I make my own because I just use so much of it. But if you're a little bit of a beginner, I'll make sure I leave my neem oil concoction down in the comments below, just so you can have a little bit of a mix yourself. Or you can buy some amazing pre-made pest sprays. I love here in Australia, We the Wild. They're very organic and it seems to work very well. And while you're there, honestly, I would recommend not only just checking for pests and treating for pests, but if you can, wipe over all of your leaves as much as possible, almost every single plant if you can. Using something like a neem oil is fantastic through this, as not only does it kill the pests that are already there, it's also a really lovely preventative to stop any fungus or future pest issues. Plus, the neem oil just makes your leaves look amazingly shiny and fabulous for your grand entrance when you come back home. And if you're still a little newer to plants, it's at this stage you may want to just make a note of all the different types of plants you have and categorize them a little bit into all of the drought tolerant plants all the way to the thirsty plants. And this will just make your preparation a little bit easier, because you want to group them and water them together, and you'll see how I do this in the next few minutes. Now, if you're not quite sure what to look for when looking for pests, because they are tiny and they do hide a lot, I have an absolutely amazing freebie for you. It'll be linked in the details below. It's a downloadable, free, absolutely free PDF that helps you recognize what pests you have and how to treat them. It's 10 pages, it's a lot of detail, and it's not just for one and done, it's for you to use in the future whenever and ever you need it. It's reusable over and over. So you can download it now and then use it and keep it for the future. Please download this, have a go. Honestly, it's a great freebie. I've got a lot of people through the comments saying it's a really high value product, so it's absolutely yours to keep. Let me know if you download it and let me know what you think. Now, just one point to say that if you're like me and you do have quite a lot of plants, this could take a while. It could take 2, maybe even 3 days to complete. I have over 200 plants, so this takes me a good couple of days. And I know it seems like a lot of faff and a lot of work, but trust me when I say it is the #1 most important step for prepping your plants. So it is good to do it thoroughly over a few days, plus doing this 1 week before you leave just means there's less stress when the case packing really ramps up a couple of days before you go. So now I'm about 5 days out before travel. Now is a good time to start watering all the plants over the next couple of days. And about 5 days out, the longest out, you can start watering your more drought tolerant plants, like your cactus, your succulents, your snake plants, your ZZ plants, and maybe even all of the string orvs. Just check that they need it first. Make sure that they need a watering. I'm actually not sure this one does. No, it doesn't. It's very heavy. But if they do need a water, just give them a really good drenching, a really good soaking. And then, of course, just make sure that you allow all the water to drain away at the base. You can water these plants early because drying out, and watering them now just lets the plants slowly pick up the moisture from the potting mix and use it up while you're away. And look, if you're not sure about whether you want to water them or not, maybe they're halfway still damp, then just leave them, because just remember, overwatering is these plants' kryptonite. So make sure the soil is dry before you water, and if you do water, make sure there's no water left in the saucer before you go. By the way, have a look at this. Have a look at that beautiful green light. My new stem, there's one there and there's one at the back here, you can't see. Okay, there's 3 days to go till holidays now. So it's at this stage that you can go about watering the majority of your plants. So you've done the drought tolerant ones. You might want to wait for the really thirsty ones till right before you go, but this is the majorities. Again, just check beforehand that they all need a drink and then thoroughly water them. If they do, letting the water again drain out the base. Now, if you're in a warmer climate or you're worried about your plants drying out too much while away, you can actually leave a little bit of water in the saucer down the bottom so the plant can absorb it back up slowly. I do this with some of my plants on a regular basis, but then I leave it a lot longer between waterings. Just remember though, just a little bit, don't overdo it because too much water can definitely lead to root rot if it sits in water for too long. And only do this for plants that can tolerate it, like I do it for pothos, phyllos, monsteras, Hoyas. That's about the range of my collection. But if you're not sure, or if you're in an absolutely cooler climate, then err on the side of caution and don't leave your plants sitting in water while you're away. And remember, it's always better to underwater than overwater. It's very much more likely that you can save a plant from underwatering by just watering it. If it sits in water for too long and you're overwatering, it's very hard to come back from that. So look, if you're still a little new to plants, then you might want to not do that, but you might want to try bottom watering. Some friends on social media called it butt chugging, which I think is a really bad and good name at the same time, because this method allows your plants to take up just the water they need and no more. The only thing with this method though is it does take time. So again, just plan ahead, but because I'm recommending you do this on day 3, it still gives you time before you're going away to do everything that you need. To be honest though, the type of watering method that you use really just depends on your preference. So just let me know in the comments below, do you bottom water more, or do you top water more, or do you do both? Also, small pro tip for the warmer climates, if you add a layer of mulch or straw or sphagnum moss, for example, on top of the pot, it can also help retain moisture. A lot of people do this with anthuriums, for example. Now, it's at this stage you might be going, Angie, I'm still 3 days away. Why would I not just water all of my plants the day before I go? While that might seem logical, there are a few reasons why that might not be right for you, and it's the reasons why I do it as well. So the first one really is about drainage and cleanup. So I just mentioned you got to let all the water drain through, and deep watering a lot of plants can just cause a lot of water to pool at the bottom of the saucers or the bottom of the pot or drip tray, and that potentially can lead to soggy roots and then root rot. So if you do this 3 days ahead, it just ensures you have time to empty the saucers and the pots, especially if you've got a lot of plants, and that you can check that the soil isn't overly waterlogged. Another reason is, especially if you're bottom watering, it does take time for the plants to absorb that water back up into the soil. And watering 3 days before gives you the chance to check if your plant has soaked up all of that water evenly. But if you water too close to the departure, then the excess water can sit on the surface and can just pool on the sides and not actually soak up properly. So honestly, too much water can cause root rot, especially if you're in a cooler climate and it's winter and you're going away and there's no airflow. So just be careful. Okay, there's now 2 days to go, totally in holiday mode. Don't want to do any work today, even though I still have to, but that's okay. So if you haven't already, now's the time to water the more thirsty plants like your ferns, your peace lilies, and calatheas. I also go around and make sure the water is topped up on any hydro or semi-hydro plants that I have as well. Watering them 2 days out just helps make sure their soil stays as damp as possible for as long as possible while you're away. And now is also the perfect time to create the perfect environment, especially checking on humidity levels. So look, if you're in a warmer climate, humidity levels could be quite high, but if you need to, you can group your plants together to create a humidity zone, or you can put some pebble trays underneath the plant pots within the base trays, the saucers, and just a little bit of water, and the water will evaporate up. Or you can just obviously add humidifiers around your room, especially if you've got tropical plants. Humidifiers are amazing. And if you are using a humidifier while you're away, you might also just want to consider a fan because you need air circulation. Otherwise, stagnant, wet air will cause fungus issues on your plants. So just be careful with that. Also, just a pro tip for those who haven't tried it before, if you've got a large collection of plants, you could just place them in the bathtub or in a really big chalet basin if you've got it. Add a little bit of water to the bottom of the tub and it creates a little mini humidity chamber. I've seen a lot of people do this. And this works especially well again for those more moisture loving plants like my calatheas and ferns, like this little guy here. Got water in it? No. How beautiful is he? This guy was almost dead, seriously, but I chopped him all off and brought him back. It's on my Instagram if you want to go have a look. Just though, please, please, please remember, if you are going to put anything in your bathroom, make sure your bathroom has enough light for your plants. Sorry about that, my camera disappeared. Okay, so just make sure that if you are putting plants in a bathroom and or a bathtub, that your bathroom has lights. My bathroom does not have any lights, therefore I never put plants in it. So especially if you're in a cooler climate, you want to maximize the amount of light your leaves are getting while you get away. Although please, please, please be careful of electricity and any bath water stuff. Okay, let's talk about the day before you travel, because I know I'm going to be stressed tomorrow, so I'm going to talk about that now. The day before travel is really just all about final touches. So nice and easy, thankfully. So if needed, just wipe down the leaves one final time so your plants can soak up the maximum amount of light while they're gone. 2, just double check that there's no water pooling in those sources to avoid those soggy roots. Number 3, adjust the blinds if needed. If you're in a scorching summer like me, you might want to bring the blinds or the shades down a little bit to prevent a bit of overheating. But remember to leave enough light for photosynthesis. Don't close them all the way down. And of course, if you're in winter and if it's cold, do the absolute opposite and open up all the blinds as much as possible to help your plants get as much light as they can. And then the 4th and final thing is just give your plants one last lovely glance to make sure that everything's in place based on your list. And now it's also at this stage that you can give yourself a big pat on the back or even maybe a preemptive wine or a cheeky margie to celebrate all the plant work that you've done. And now you can focus on packing those last minute essentials for you and your family, especially the snacks, obviously, now that all your plants are prepped. It is holiday day. We are ready to leave. I am all packed and ready to go. My plants are all prepped. I hope yours are too. And now that they're ready, it's time for you to head off. I'm sure your plants will be absolutely fine without you. They'll probably have a little of a break and a holiday just as much as you will. You might also have noticed that I haven't done any of the rope wicking or set up anything like that because honestly, you don't need it. If you've done the watering schedule like we've talked, then your plants will be fine for a week or 2 without them. Let them be, let them have a little bit of a break, and they'll probably grow quite a bit while you're gone. It's funny how that happens sometimes. Right, before I leave though, I did promise some bonus tips for when you get back from your holidays, just to help you get your plants back to thriving and feeling refreshed after your time away like a boss. So let's do them. 4 things. Number 1, check the soil for moisture. If you need to water your plants, obviously water them when you come back. Number 2, open the windows and get fresh air moving through the house. You want to improve the circulation, especially if your house was closed up while you're away. Number 3, if you've been away for quite a while, there might have been dust now settling on the leaves. Just check if they need cleaning and wipe the leaves clean so your plants can absorb the light effectively now that you're back, just in case. And 4, as we talked right at the beginning, obviously check for any pests. If they've popped up while you're away, then they'll be obvious when you return. And honestly, it'll probably only be maybe that last 10%, but they are sneaky. So just address them promptly. If you've wiped all the leaves before with neem oil, you may not even have any pests, to be honest, but still inspect as they are so easy to miss. They're so sneaky little buggers. Right, so with that, a little post-holiday love, your plants will be bouncing back in no time, I promise you. And maybe even just checking in on your plants when you're back will help you unwind from the stress of unpacking. I find that. I love going around and searching for new growth. If you want more ways to unwind and de-stress, I do recommend you just watch this video next. It's my top 10 philodendron list where you can sit back, look at some beautiful plants, some beautiful leaves, and maybe add more to your wish list. Have an amazing week, have an amazing holiday full of leaves, love and laughter. I am off. I will see you when I get back. Don't worry, there's going to be another video next week, I promise you, but I will see you when I return, hopefully a little bit tanned, and enjoy your vacation. I'll see you later. Bye!